The bite burned like betrayal, a jagged tear in my arm that throbbed under the moonlight. I stumbled through the Oregon forest, the scent of pine and damp earth choking my lungs, my boots crunching on frost-kissed leaves. My name's Riley Parker, 28, park ranger, born and raised in the shadow of Mount Hood. Last night I was tracking a rogue wolf routine patrol, or so I thought. Then it happened. Teeth, pain, and a howl that still echoed in my skull. Now silver stung my skin like acid, and every heartbeat felt like a countdown to something I couldn't name. I collapsed against a cedar, my breath ragged, the cold air slicing my throat. My radio crackled, spitting static in the faint voice of my boss, Carl. "Riley, you copy? Where the hell are you?" I didn't answer. How could I? My arm was healing too fast, flesh knitting itself shut in minutes, unnatural, wrong. My senses were sharper now, too sharp. The rustle of a squirrel half a mile away hit my ears like a gunshot. And then there was her scent, jasmine, ink, and something electric, cutting through the forest like a blade. Her name was Avery Quinn, 27, a journalist from Portland with a reputation for chasing stories no one else dared touch. She'd been sniffing around the park for weeks, asking about unexplained incidents, her hazel eyes glinting with a hunger that made my stomach twist even before the bite. I'd brushed her off, told her to stick to her city coffee shops. But now, as I crouched in the dirt, her scent was a tether, pulling me toward the clearing where I knew she'd be. I found her at dawn, her silhouette framed against the rising sun, her camera clicking as she photographed wolf tracks. Her dark hair spilled over her leather jacket, and her breath puffed in the chilly air, a rhythm that matched my own uneven pulse. "Riley," she called, her voice sharp but warm like whiskey on a winter night. She turned, and her eyes locked on mine, wide, searching, fearless. "Jesus, you look like hell." I laughed, a hollow sound that broke into a cough. "You don't know the half of it." My fingers brushed the silver whistle around my neck, and pain seared my skin, forcing a hiss through my teeth. Avery stepped closer, her boots crunching softly, her gaze dropping to the bloodstains on my sleeve. "What happened out there?" she asked, her voice low, like she already knew the answer would change everything. I wanted to tell her. I wanted to scream that a werewolf, yeah, a goddamn werewolf, had sunk its teeth into me, that my body was no longer mine, that the sight of her made my blood roar in ways I couldn't explain. But the words stuck, tangled in the fear that she'd think I was crazy. Or worse, that she'd believe me. "Riley, talk to me," Avery pressed, her hand hovering near mine, close enough to feel the warmth of her skin. That small gesture cracked something open in me, a flood of need and dread. I'd always noticed her, too much if I'm honest, the way she tilted her head when she laughed, the way her fingers lingered on her camera like it was an extension of her soul. But now, with this thing inside me, her presence was a siren call, dangerous and irresistible. "I can't," I whispered, my voice breaking. The forest was too loud, birds chirping, wind hissing, my own heartbeat thundering. I backed away, my boots slipping on wet moss. Avery followed, undeterred, her eyes burning with that stubborn fire I both loved and hated. "You're not okay," she said, not a question. "And I'm not leaving until you tell me why." The air between us crackled, heavy with unspoken truths. My skin prickled, not just from the cold but from something deeper, something clawing to get out. I didn't know if it was the bite or her, maybe both. All I knew was that the world had shifted, and Avery Quinn was at the center of it, whether I wanted her there or not. The clearing smelled of damp earth and Avery's perfume, a mix that made my head swim. My arm throbbed less now, but my senses were a live wire. Every rustle, every flicker of light through the pines, hit me like a punch. Avery stood too close, her breath visible in the dawn chill, her hazel eyes narrowing as she studied me. "Riley, you're shaking," she said, her voice soft but edged with worry. I clenched my fists, nails biting into my palms, trying to anchor myself against the storm inside. "Don't," I snapped, harsher than I meant. Her hand froze mid-reach, and the hurt in her eyes cut deeper than the bite. I turned away, staring at the horizon where the sun bled gold into the sky. The truth was a weight I couldn't carry alone, but telling her meant dragging her into this nightmare. You need to go, Avery. Now. She didn't budge. Of course she didn't. That was Avery. Stubborn as hell, always chasing the story, even when it could ruin her. I'm not some tourist you can scare off, she said, stepping closer, her boots sinking into the mud. You're hurt. You're scared. And you're not telling me something I deserve to know. Deserve. I laughed, bitter, the sound echoing in the quiet. This isn't about what you deserve. It's about keeping you safe. My voice cracked and I hated it. Hated how her presence made my chest ache, how her scent, jasmine and ink, twisted something wild inside me. The bite had changed more than my body. It had sharpened my feelings, made every glance from her feel like a spark on dry tinder. She crossed her arms, her leather jacket creaking. Safe from what? You? Or whatever did that to your arm? Her gaze flicked to the torn sleeve, the skin beneath now smooth, too smooth. I saw the question in her eyes, the same one gnawing at me. What the hell are you now? I paced, the ground cold under my boots, the silver whistle around my neck burning every time it brushed my skin. You wouldn't believe me, I muttered, my breath hitching. I don't even believe it. The memory of the wolf's yellow eyes flashed in my mind, its growl vibrating in my bones. My pulse spiked and for a moment I swore I felt my teeth sharpen, my vision blur with something primal. Avery grabbed my wrist, her grip firm, warm, grounding. Try me, she said, her voice low, urgent. Her touch sent a jolt through me, and I yanked my hand back, not because I wanted to, but because I was terrified of what I might do. Riley, please, she said, softer now, her eyes searching mine. I've seen you out here night after night, keeping this place safe. I know you. Whatever this is, we'll figure it out. Together. Her words were a lifeline, but they also scared the hell out of me. Together meant her getting too close, her seeing the monster I was becoming. I swallowed, my throat dry, the taste of blood lingering from where I'd bitten my lip. Last night, I started, my voice barely above a whisper. Something attacked me. Not a wolf. Not human. I paused, waiting for her to laugh, to back away. She didn't. She just listened, her face steady, her breath a soft rhythm in the silence. It bit me, I continued, my voice shaking. And now I'm changing. Silver burns me. My senses are too sharp. And when I'm near you. I stopped, my cheeks burning, the words too raw, too honest. Avery's lips parted, but she didn't speak, just watched me with that intensity that made my heart race faster than it should. Near me what? She asked, stepping closer, her voice barely audible, like she was afraid to break the moment. The air between us was thick, charged, the forest holding its breath. I could hear her heartbeat, fast and steady, and it was driving me wild, pulling at something deep and untamed. I wanted to tell her everything. How her presence made the chaos in me both worse and better. How I'd always noticed her even before the bite. But the words wouldn't come. Not yet. The forest was too quiet now, the kind of quiet that presses against your eardrums, heavy with secrets. Avery's question hung in the air, near me what? And I couldn't look at her. Not because I didn't want to, but because her eyes were a mirror reflecting back every fear, every desire I was trying to bury. My arm itched where the bite had healed, a phantom pain that pulsed with my heartbeat. The silver whistle around my neck felt like a noose, its faint burn a reminder of what I was becoming. Riley, Avery said, her voice softer now, almost a plea. She stepped closer, her boots crunching on pine needles, her scent overwhelming, jasmine, ink, and that electric edge that made my skin hum. You don't get to shut me out. Not after everything. Her hand reached for mine again, and this time I didn't pull away. Her fingers were warm, steady, and for a moment, I could almost forget the monster clawing inside me. I'm scared, I admitted, the words spilling out before I could stop them. Not just of what's happening to me, but of what I feel when I'm around you. My voice cracked raw like I'd torn open a wound. Her eyes widened, but she didn't let go, her thumb brushing lightly against my knuckles. That small touch was a spark, igniting something I'd kept locked away for years. feelings I buried under flannel shirts and long nights alone in the ranger station. Avery's lips curved, not quite a smile but something warmer, something that made my chest ache. "You think you're the only one scared?" she said, her voice low, trembling with an emotion I couldn't name. "I've been out here chasing stories, pretending it's just work. But it's not. It's you, Riley. It's always been you." Her words hit like a freight train, stealing my breath. I wanted to laugh, to tell her she was crazy, but the truth was in her eyes. Fierce, vulnerable, unwavering. The forest seemed to close in around us, the air thick with the scent of moss and morning dew. My pulse roared, and for a second I felt it again, that primal surge, like something inside me was waking up, hungry, wild. I yanked my hand back, my breath hitching, the silver whistle searing my skin as I moved. "Don't," I said, my voice rough. "You don't know what you're saying. I'm not safe." The word felt wrong, inadequate. Safe? I was a ticking bomb, a park ranger turned monster, and she was standing too close to the blast zone. But Avery didn't flinch. She never did. "Safe's overrated," she said, her voice steady now, her eyes locked on mine. "You're still you, Riley. Bite or no bite." She reached for her camera, her fingers brushing the lens like it was a talisman. "Let me help you. Let me figure this out with you." I wanted to believe her, wanted to cling to the hope in her voice. But the memory of the wolf's teeth, the burn of silver, the way my body felt foreign, kept me anchored in fear. "What if I hurt you?" I whispered, the words barely audible, swallowed by the rustle of leaves in the breeze. Avery's jaw tightened and she stepped closer, so close I could feel the heat of her body. "Then we'll deal with it," she said, her voice fierce. "But I'm not running. Not from you." Her hand found my cheek, her touch soft but firm, and for a moment the world stopped, the forest, the bite, the fear. There was just her, and the way her touch made me feel human again. But the moment shattered. A twig snapped in the distance, sharp and deliberate, and my senses flared. My head whipped toward the sound, my vision sharpening, picking up the faint outline of something moving through the trees. Avery tensed, her hand dropping to her side, her eyes scanning the forest. "What is it?" she whispered, her voice barely a breath. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The thing inside me was awake, and it was hungry. The forest pulsed with danger, the air thick with the scent of pine and something darker. Musk, fur, and menace. My heart hammered, each beat a drumroll in my ears, drowning out the soft rustle of leaves. Avery's hand grazed mine, her fingers trembling but steady, grounding me even as my senses screamed. "Riley, what do you see?" she whispered, her voice tight, her hazel eyes darting toward the shadows where I'd locked onto movement. I didn't answer, couldn't. My vision was too sharp, picking out details no human should see. The glint of yellow eyes through the trees, the slow shift of a massive shape. The thing that bit me was back or something like it. My skin prickled, the bite on my arm throbbing like a warning. The silver whistle burned against my chest, a white-hot reminder of what I was becoming. "Stay behind me," I growled, my voice lower, rougher than it should have been. Avery didn't argue, but I felt her bristle, her journalist's instinct kicking in. She clutched her camera, her knuckles white, ready to document whatever hell was about to break loose. The air was heavy, the dawn light filtering through the pines in jagged streaks, casting the forest in a haze of gold and shadow. My breath came in short bursts, visible in the cold, each exhale a small rebellion against the panic clawing my throat. The shape moved closer, silent but deliberate, its steps muffled by the forest floor. I caught a glimpse, matted fur, a flash of teeth, a low growl that vibrated in my bones. My body reacted before my mind could. Muscles tensing, a snarl building in my chest. Avery's hand tightened on my arm. "Riley, don't," she said, her voice sharp, urgent. "You're not like that thing." But I wasn't so sure. The hunger inside me was waking, clawing at the edges of my control, drawn to the scent of the creature, and to Avery standing too close, her heartbeat a beacon in the chaos. I shoved her behind me, harder than I meant, and she stumbled, her camera thudding against her chest. Stay back. I snapped, my voice barely human. The creature stepped into the clearing, and my breath caught. It was no ordinary wolf, too big, too aware, its eyes glowing with a cruel intelligence. Its fur was dark, streaked with silver, and its lips curled back to reveal fangs that glistened in the morning light. My own teeth ached as if answering its call, and a low growl rumbled in my throat, unbidden, unstoppable. Riley. Avery's voice cut through, sharp and desperate. She was pointing her camera, the shutter clicking like gunfire, capturing the beast as it stalked closer. The creature's eyes flicked to her, and my blood ran cold. No! I roared, stepping between them, my hands clenched into fists. The silver whistle seared my skin, grounding me in pain, keeping me human for now. The wolf lunged, a blur of muscle and teeth, and I moved faster than I thought possible, shoving Avery out of the way. Her body hit the ground with a soft thud, a gasp escaping her lips. The wolf's claws raked my side, hot pain flaring, but I didn't falter. I swung, my fist connecting with its jaw, the impact jarring my arm. It snarled, backing off, but its eyes never left me. Calculating, waiting. Avery scrambled to her feet, her camera forgotten, her face pale but fierce. "Riley, run!" she shouted, but I couldn't. Not from this. Not from her. The wolf circled, its growl a low hum that shook the air, and I felt it, the pull, the connection. It wasn't just a beast. It was part of me now, or I was part of it. "Get out of here, Avery," I said, my voice strained, my eyes locked on the wolf. "Please." But she didn't move, her breath hitching, her presence a fire in my veins. The wolf lunged again, and this time I met it head-on, my own snarl tearing free, the forest echoing with the sound of two monsters colliding. The wolf's claws tore into my shoulder, a white-hot pain that ripped a scream from my throat. I stumbled back, the forest spinning, the scent of blood, my blood, mixing with pine and damp earth. Avery's shout pierced the chaos, her voice raw, desperate. "Riley!" She was too close, her boots slipping in the mud as she lunged toward me, her camera swinging wildly on its strap. The wolf's eyes flicked to her, and my heart stopped. No, not her. I roared, the sound more beast than human, and threw myself at the creature. My fists connected with its flank, a dull thud that echoed in the clearing. It snarled, teeth snapping inches from my face, its breath hot and rancid. My body moved on instinct, faster, stronger than it should have been. But every strike felt like a betrayal of who I used to be. The bite on my arm burned, a pulsing reminder of the monster inside me, waking hungry. "Riley, stop." Avery's voice was a lifeline, sharp and clear, cutting through the haze. She was scrambling to her feet, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear. Not of the wolf, but of me. That hurt worse than the claws. I faltered, and the wolf seized its chance, slamming into me, pinning me to the ground. Its weight crushed my chest, its jaws hovering over my throat. I could feel its heartbeat, fast and wild, mirroring my own. Then a flash, a deafening crack. The wolf yelped, staggering back, blood matting its fur. Avery stood a few feet away, a flare gun trembling in her hands, the acrid smell of gunpowder stinging the air. "Get away from her!" she shouted, her voice shaking but fierce, her eyes blazing with a fire that made my chest ache. The wolf snarled, its eyes locked on Avery, but it didn't attack. It backed away, melting into the shadows, its growl fading into the rustle of leaves. My breath came in ragged gasps, the pain in my shoulder throbbing in time with my pulse. Avery dropped the flare gun, rushing to my side, her hands hovering over me, unsure where to touch. "Jesus, Riley, are you okay?" Her voice cracked, tears glistening in her eyes. I tried to sit up, wincing as pain shot through me. You shot it," I managed, my voice hoarse. Her hands found my face, cool against my fevered skin, and for a moment the world was just her scent, her touch, her heartbeat. "I wasn't gonna let it hurt you," she whispered, her thumb brushing my cheek, leaving a trail of warmth. But the warmth didn't last. My vision blurred, my senses sharpening again, too sharp. The forest was alive with sounds, birds, wind, the distant snap of a twig. and my body felt wrong, like it was stretching, changing. I pushed Avery away, harder than I meant, and she stumbled, her expression a mix of hurt and confusion. "Don't," I said, my voice low, trembling. I'm not safe." "Stop saying that," she snapped, her voice rising, raw with frustration. "You're still you, Riley. I see you. I've always seen you." Her words were a knife, cutting through the fear, but they couldn't stop the truth. The bite was changing me, and the pull I felt toward her, wild, overwhelming, was as dangerous as the wolf. I staggered to my feet, the silver whistle burning against my chest, a constant reminder of what I'd lost. "You don't get it," I said, my voice breaking. "I could hurt you. I want to hurt you." The confession slipped out, raw and ugly, and I saw the shock in her eyes, the way her breath hitched. But she didn't back away. She never did. "Then let me help you fight it," she said, her voice steady now, her eyes locked on mine. "We're in this together, whether you like it or not." She stepped closer, her hand reaching for mine, and I wanted to pull away, to run, but her touch was an anchor, holding me to the human I still wanted to be. But the forest wasn't done with us. A low growl rumbled in the distance, and my blood ran cold. It wasn't over. Not yet. The growl rolled through the forest like thunder, low and menacing, vibrating in my chest. My senses snapped into overdrive. Every leaf rustling, every twig snapping, amplified like a drumbeat in my skull. Avery's hand was still in mine, her grip tight, her pulse racing under my fingertips. I wanted to shove her away, to tell her to run, but her eyes held me, fierce and unyielding, daring me to trust her. "Riley, we need to move," she said, her voice low, urgent, her breath puffing in the cold morning air. I nodded, my throat tight, the silver whistle searing my skin as I pulled her toward the trail. My shoulder throbbed where the wolf's claws had torn through, but the pain was duller now, my body healing too fast, too wrong. The forest was alive around us, the scent of pine and blood mingling with Avery's jasmine, a mix that made my head spin. The growl came again, closer, and my stomach twisted. It was hunting us, me specifically, and I didn't know if I could outrun it, or if I wanted to. "Over there," I said, pointing to a rocky outcrop 100 yards away, a natural barrier that might buy us time. We ran, our boots pounding the earth, Avery's camera bouncing against her chest. Her breath was ragged, but she kept pace, her determination a fire that burned brighter than my fear. The silver whistle swung with every step, burning my skin, grounding me in pain. I hated it, but I needed it. A tether to the human I was losing. We reached the outcrop, scrambling behind a boulder, our breaths loud in the quiet. Avery crouched beside me, her shoulder brushing mine, her scent overwhelming. My heart raced, not just from the run but from her. Her closeness, her warmth, the way her eyes searched mine for answers I didn't have. "What's the plan?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "Plan?" I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed off the rocks. "I don't even know what I am, Avery. How do I fight something that's already inside me?" My voice cracked, and I hated how weak it sounded, how raw. The bite on my arm pulsed, a reminder of the thing I was becoming. The thing that wanted her in ways I couldn't control. She grabbed my face, her hands firm, her eyes blazing. "You're Riley Parker," she said, her voice fierce, cutting through the chaos in my head. "You're the woman who's saved hikers from blizzards, who knows every trail in this park, who's too stubborn to quit. That's who you are. Not this thing." Her thumb brushed my jaw, and for a moment I believed her. I wanted to. But the growl was closer now, a low hum that shook the air. I pushed her hands away, my breath hitching, my senses screaming. "You don't get it," I said, my voice low, trembling. "It's not just the wolf out there. It's me. I feel it, Avery. It's hungry. And when I look at you..." I stopped, my cheeks burning, the truth too heavy, too dangerous. Her eyes softened, but she didn't back away. "Then let's face it together," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm not afraid of you, Riley. I'm afraid of losing you." Her words were a knife, sharp and tender, and they broke something in me. a dam I'd built to keep her out. I wanted to kiss her, to pull her close and forget the world, but the forest wouldn't let me. A shadow moved, fast and silent, and my body reacted before my mind could. I shoved Avery behind the boulder, my heart pounding, my vision sharpening. The wolf was here, its eyes glowing in the dawn light, its teeth bared. It wasn't just a beast, it was a mirror showing me what I could become. And as it lunged, I realized I wasn't just fighting for my life. I was fighting for her. The wolf's lunge was a blur, a storm of fur and teeth that hit me like a freight train. I rolled, my body slamming into the rocky ground, pain flaring in my shoulder as the silver whistle burned against my chest. Avery's scream cut through the air, sharp and desperate, her voice a tether pulling me back from the edge. "Riley!" she yelled, scrambling to her feet, her hands fumbling for the flare gun she'd dropped. The wolf's eyes locked on her, and my blood turned to ice. "No!" I roared, my voice more growl than human, and I threw myself between them. My fist connected with the wolf's jaw, a sickening crack that echoed in the clearing. It staggered, but its eyes burned with that same cruel intelligence, like it knew me, like it saw the monster I was becoming. My breath came in ragged bursts, the scent of blood and pine overwhelming, my senses too sharp, too wild. The bite on my arm throbbed, syncing with my heartbeat, urging me to let go, to give in. Avery fired the flare gun again, the shot wild, the flare hissing into the trees, sparking red against the dawn. The wolf flinched, its growl vibrating in my bones, but it didn't retreat. It circled, its movements deliberate, testing me. I could feel it, the pull, the connection. It wasn't just hunting me. It was calling me like a twisted invitation to join it. "Riley, stay with me." Avery's voice was a lifeline, raw and fierce. She was behind me now, her hand brushing my back, her touch a spark that grounded me. But it also woke something else, something hungry, something that wanted her as much as it wanted to tear the wolf apart. I clenched my fists, my nails biting into my palms, the pain a reminder to stay human, to stay me. "I'm trying," I gasped, my voice breaking. The wolf lunged again and I met it, our bodies colliding in a tangle of claws and fists. My strength was unnatural, my movements too fast, but every hit felt like a step closer to losing myself. The wolf's teeth grazed my arm, and I screamed, not just from pain but from the surge of something dark, something that wanted to answer its call. Avery was shouting, her voice a mix of fear and fury, but I couldn't focus on her words. The world was narrowing, blood, fur, the burn of silver, the throb of the bite. I threw the wolf off, my chest heaving, my vision blurring. It landed hard, but it was back on its feet in seconds, its eyes locked on mine, daring me to give in. "Riley, look at me." Avery's voice broke through, sharp and clear. I turned, and her face was all I saw, pale, fierce, her eyes burning with a love I didn't deserve. "You're stronger than this," she said, her voice trembling but sure. "You're not a monster. You're mine." Her words hit harder than the wolf's claws, tearing through the chaos in my head. Mine. The word was a fire burning away the hunger, the fear. I staggered back, my breath hitching, the silver whistle searing my skin. The wolf growled, low and menacing, but it didn't attack. It watched, its eyes glinting like it knew I was at a crossroads. I grabbed Avery's hand, pulling her close, her warmth anchoring me. "I don't know how to fight this," I whispered, my voice raw, my eyes stinging with tears I hadn't realized were there. "But I don't want to lose you." "You won't," she said, her voice fierce, her hand tightening on mine. "We'll fight it together." The wolf's growl grew louder, but for the first time, I felt something stronger than fear. Her, us, the possibility of a future worth fighting for. But the wolf wasn't done, and neither was the thing inside me. The wolf's growl was a blade, slicing through the dawn's quiet, its eyes locked on me like I was both prey and kin. My chest heaved, the silver whistle burning a hole against my skin, each breath a battle to stay human. Avery's hand was in mine, her grip fierce, her heartbeat a steady rhythm against the chaos in my head. "Riley, we can do this," she whispered, her voice a beacon, pulling me back from the edge. But the wolf was closer now, its teeth bared, its fur bristling in the golden light. I pushed Avery behind me, my body trembling. Not from fear but from the thing inside me, clawing to get out. The bite on my arm pulsed, a drumbeat of hunger, of power urging me to let go. "Stay back," I said, my voice low, barely mine. She didn't listen, of course she didn't. Her hand stayed on my arm, her touch a fire that both calmed and ignited me. The wolf lunged and time slowed. I saw every detail. Its muscles rippling, its claws glinting, its eyes burning with a challenge I couldn't ignore. My body moved on its own, meeting it mid-air, our collision a thunderclap that shook the forest. Pain exploded in my ribs, but I didn't care. I grabbed its fur, my fingers sinking deep, and threw it against a tree. The crack of wood splintering mixed with its yelp, a sound that echoed in my bones. "Riley!" Avery's scream was raw, desperate, her hands fumbling with her camera, as if capturing this could make it less real. But it was real, too real. The wolf recovered, faster than it should have, and charged again. I dodged, my movements fluid, unnatural, my senses screaming with every sound, every scent. Her Jasmine was there, under the blood and pine, and it was the only thing keeping me tethered. I didn't want to be this thing. I didn't want the hunger, the rage, the way my body craved the fight. But I wanted her. Avery, her fire, her stubborn heart, and that was stronger. "I'm not you," I snarled at the wolf, my voice shaking, my fists clenched. Paused, its head tilting like it understood, like it was waiting. Avery was beside me now, her breath ragged, her eyes wide but unafraid. "You're not alone," she said, her voice steady, cutting through the growl in my throat. "You're Riley. My Riley." Her hand found my face, her touch cool against my fevered skin, and for a moment the world was just us, the forest, the wolf, the bite fading into the background. I took a breath, the air sharp and cold, and made a choice. I ripped the silver whistle from my neck, the pain searing but grounding, and threw it at the wolf. It howled, staggering back, the silver burning its fur. I didn't wait. I tackled it, my hands wrapping around its throat, my strength surging, but my heart anchored by her voice, her touch, her belief in me. The wolf thrashed, but I held on, my vision blurring, my body trembling with the effort to stay human. "I'm not you," I repeated, my voice breaking, tears mixing with sweat. The wolf's eyes dimmed, its body going limp, and I felt it, the connection snapping, the hunger fading. It wasn't dead, but it was done, retreating into the shadows, leaving me gasping in the dirt. Avery was there, her arms around me, her breath warm against my neck. "You did it," she whispered, her voice thick with tears. "You're still you." I leaned into her, the scent of jasmine and ink grounding me, the pain in my body a reminder that I was alive, human, hers. The forest was quiet now, the dawn breaking fully, bathing us in light. The bite would always be there, a scar, a reminder. But so would she. And that was enough. We'd fight the monster together, not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. Because love, even with its claws, was stronger than silver.